This is Sandra Swan, Star Power, and I shine the light on lots of people who are out there shining God's glory in the marketplace all over the world. And today I'm meeting with JeanAnne Roberts, who is an actress, an author, and she's got a remarkable career. She's a mother and wife, and she has two children, and she is still doing the work that God called her to do. She has written a book, and we're going to hear first of all about your testimony, how you came to the Lord and how that's influenced your career decisions. So welcome to our show today, Jeanette.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so blessed to be here. And I want to start off with the question you just asked about my testimony. And I have to say that I asked Jesus into my heart at the age of 13. And you would think that would be the end of the story, but that was just that was the beginning. And I used to go to church with my grandparents. And when you read my book, I talk about this. And they went to a Baptist church in the mountains. Uh, it's Matewan, West Virginia. And I really felt the presence of the Lord there. And they had a banjo player. I mean, it was incredible. It was a small church, but it was so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was a good kid. I loved Jesus until I went to college. And then
Well,
I
you're
had
not
that.
alone. Lots of people go through struggles in college and even high school. So, it's not unusual for believers to have a period of worldliness in their lives, and it actually is probably we learn a lot of hard lessons during that time.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like when I went to college, I just forgot about God. I forgot about Jesus. I didn't go back to church. Just when I would come home for like holidays, my family, my mom and dad, and my brothers and sisters, we would go to church, but I just was not where I needed to be.
Hmm.
And what I've learned from that experience is that if you don't have God leading you, then you are going to be led in the wrong direction.
Hmm.
And at the age of 26, I rededicated my life to Jesus, and I've never looked back.
Awesome. Well, I love that, and you've started a great career. I mean, he really has directed your path, and so give us a little bit of background. I'm gonna get into some of your professional um, ventures here. You started out did you start out in the business world, or were you teaching, I believe?
Well, when I first graduated from college, I my degree was in communication, and I didn't have a specialization, so it was really difficult, and I still wasn't sure. Some people know exactly what they want to do, but I just had no idea still, and I ended up moving to Charleston, South Carolina. My sister Wendy, who we'll talk about, further on in this conversation,
Sure.
she was down there in Charleston, South Carolina, and she was a reporter. So I went down to live with her, and I ended up getting a job in sales in marketing for it was called Rutledge College. So I was selling intangible products. Basically, I was selling people to sign up for 6 week or 6 month. It was more like a trade school.
Hmm.
And I did that for 4 years. And I have to say that what I would have to do is I would call people from the phone book. That's what they gave me. They would
Wow.
just gave me the phone book. And I was their top sales rep. Oh, that's okay. And through having to call people from the phone book, that you really have to have a lot of courage.
You
And
do.
I really feel like that job set me up for my whole life
Mm.
because fortune favors the bold. And it was like I what are you going to do? That was my first job out of college. I I couldn't say no, I can't do this. And I did it. I felt like it was a good job because I was helping others. I was
Mm.
serving others. And I learned a lot in that job. And I only made $11,000. I worked 10 hours a day.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
it was a really, I learned a lot, and I'm really happy that that was my first job.
Well, you got a lot of skills for sure. And that was a difficult job to undertake, getting on the phone with total strangers.
Yes, but my passion led me to becoming a flight attendant, and I really wanted to travel all over the world. So before that, I went to graduate school because I thought, well, I still couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to be calling people from the phone book my whole life. I mean, I learned a lot, but I was ready after 4 years to, do something different. And I
Yes.
needed to specialize. So I got my master's in English and education. And the funny thing is, when I did my student teaching, I thought to myself, I don't want to do this. And
Mm.
here I had, I was going to be a teacher. I had a skill. And I said, I really just I want to travel the world. So at that time, I applied to be a flight attendant, and I got the job. And my sister Nancy, my younger sister, she also applied to be a flight attendant. And so we had the most blessed life, like where we, as sisters, got to travel the world, and we would fly together.
How
And
wonderful.
yeah,
What
it
a
was
great
wonderful.
opportunity. Yeah.
And I do want to say that I feel that God used me, and I don't know how many people I saved, but I really, every single flight, thousands of flights, I was always, you know, telling people about Jesus. And I'm not saying I wasn't a perfect um person. I wasn't, how can I say this? I just had so much love for Jesus.
Hmm.
I still made mistakes along the way.
Well, don't
Um
we all,
yeah,
But
but
people can be afraid on an airplane, so they're a lot more receptive sometimes to hearing about a relationship with the Lord. So that was a perfect way to introduce them.
yes, yes. So it was really such a joyful time in my life. Except that I was always looking for Mr. Right.
Hmm.
And I was always so desperate for love because if you read my book, you'll find out a little bit about, I didn't get that hug from my mom. And it really made me feel like I was just looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah,
But God
that's
is so good,
he is.
and he did send my Prince Charming, and I got married at the age of 40. And a lot of people would say that's too late. And that's one of the reasons I wrote my book, because I want people to know it's never too late.
Hmm. It's not too late, that's for sure. And you had some other career opportunities as well. You've been an actress, and you starred in a film recently called Jesus Freaks. So God's still using you in His kingdom there. You were actually the pastor's wife in that movie, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so you've been acting, and then tell us a little bit about your book and what prompted you to write the book.
Well, when I was 55, I got contacted to compete for Mrs. DC America. And I I thought, well, it actually, I didn't know I was being contacted to compete. What happened is I submitted for a job, for a modeling job on Fox 5. And when I showed up for the job, the lady that I met, she said to me, "You're going to be the next Mrs. DC America." And I was shocked because I'm like, I think I'm too old. I told her, I said, I'm 55. And she said, no, it's never too late. And the amazing thing about this story is this was actually a buried dream from 36 years ago.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so
Mm.
at the age of 17, I competed and won the crown in Miss Magnolia Fair. And then I went on to compete at the age of 18 for Miss Mingo County, and I won that pageant. And then from that pageant goes to the Miss Junior Miss pageant that is at the state level. And I thought after winning two crowns, and it was so easy, I thought this is going to be a breeze. I'm going to get this state crown. And when I went there to compete, I wasn't prepared. My whoever was in charge of the pageant for what I did not know how difficult it was. It was a whole different level
Oh.
of competition.
Mm.
And the part that really is heartbreaking is that when I lost that pageant, my mom was more heartbroken than me. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but that was her dream also.
Oh my.
And so I carried that in my heart for 36 years.
Mm.
And when this lady said that to me, it was such a a gift. Like, how did this happen? This how you know God, even when you forget your dreams, God doesn't forget your dreams, and His timing is always perfect. So when she approached me and I asked my husband, he was a little bit he wasn't really excited about it. But I convinced him, and then I competed and I put my heart and soul into it. It was really do or die for me because
Mm.
I wanted to win that love from my mom.
Mm.
And it did change our relationship. I have to say that when I won that crown, I felt that love from my mom after 36 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
So
that you finally got it. That's a lot of pressure on you as a young lady, as an older lady as well, when you're married and have children and um, competing. That took a lot of courage. And so bravo for you for having the courage to step up and do that. So that's where the title of your book comes from.
yeah, I what happened is when I thought about, I thought it was too late. And I want people to know that it's never too late to find your crown. And so that's really what prompted me, not just that, but this book is a memoir
Mhm.
from my childhood from 5 years old to winning the crown at 55. And I want people to also know this book is not just for people that are in midlife. This is
Mhm.
for the generations because even at the age of 18, when I lost that state title, I thought failure was final. I
Mm.
did not realize that I would ever have the opportunity again to compete for a state title. And God truly has a sense of humor because
Yes,
He
he
could have
does.
done it so much sooner, but He decided to do it when
Oh,
I was 55.
that's really, it is remarkable. His timing is definitely different than ours, that's for sure. So
Yes.
your book highlights all of these career changes and then what you learned along the way. And I know that struggles and failures often help us look inward, and also they challenge us, to take another step, and go forward. And these are things that are not learned when life is easy. So the challenges definitely grow us up in a lot of ways that we don't see. It's kind of that invisible work along the way. So your book is available, what, on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon. You can also get it at Barnes and Noble
Okay.
on online and at Walmart online.
All right. And then you're going to be speaking at an upcoming conference. And actually, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about that and your speaking engagement coming up. So we'd like to invite people to come and hear JeanAnne speak and share from her heart and also get copies of your book.
Yes, so what I want to say is this singles conference, my sister Wendy, she is the one that is having this, is hosting this.
Mhm.
And if anyone out there is interested, this is for anyone that it doesn't matter your age. If you have a desire in your heart to get married, this conference is for you. And the conference is in Virginia Beach. It's from June. I just wrote it down. Let me check it out. Sorry. June 13th and 14th.
Uh-huh.
And you can go to wendygriffithauthor.com
Hmm.
to find more information on it. And what I'm going to speak about is also, there's many chapters in my book, but one of the chapters is on all the heartache that I had before I met my husband. And I just want everybody out there to know that, and this is what I'll be speaking about at the conference, is
Okay.
that God God has that perfect person for you. And when it doesn't work out, it's not the right person.
Hmm.
And I've never, I've only been married once, but even if you're married and divorced, a lot of people give up after that. And but God created marriage, and he wants us to have a mate,
Hmm.
and he wants us to have someone to share our life with, and
Yeah.
to also glorify his name, because when there's more to come together, it's so much more powerful. And God is love, and that is what, he's all about. That's what he wants for us.
That's right.
And so I just want to say that I dated so many guys. I mean, it wasn't like long term. It was just like I just kissed so many frogs. And when I finally met my husband, I was ready, and he was ready, and I met him on Match.com. And what I want to tell people is that God really confirmed that he was the person for me
Hmm.
when we were writing out our invitations for our wedding.
Hmm.
And we did not realize this, but his dad's name is Jean, and his mom's name is Anne. And
Oh,
my name is JeanAnne. So, I mean, we just celebrated our 19th wedding
well,
anniversary. Oh,
congratulations.
thank you. And I do believe that God does have a mate for everyone. And I, you know, I got married at 40. My sister got married for the first time at 54. And a lot of people, don't get married till, 70 and beyond.
Hmm.
And I do think that sometimes, like, it's like sweet like honey. The longer you have to wait, the more beautiful it is.
Well, that's probably true. The beautiful thing about your story is that you you were able to take all the difficulties and challenges and still move forward and then be expectant for God to bring you a loving husband and then now to have two children and a wonderful family. And so you live in Northern Virginia, and I think you're still acting, right, in
Oh,
films.
yes. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Well, tell us a little bit about your um, choices that you've been having to make as far as what kind of acting that you'll take and those pieces that you'll turn down. I'm sure that's difficult sometimes to turn something down when it doesn't necessarily reflect your values.
Yes, absolutely. I think that every job that you get, whether you're an extra or you're featured, you're a principal, I
Mhm.
think you learn. So it really is like a learning experience. And so I've been booked for several episodes on a couple different Netflix series in New York. And I I've realized that I have to be careful, because there was one Netflix series, and I'm not going to name it, but
Mhm.
it was like my husband and we wanted to watch it because I was a featured extra on it, but it was so dark
Oh.
that we couldn't even get through the first episode.
Mhm.
And then I said to my husband, I said, I realized that I really need to pray about this and
Hmm.
also research these different like Netflix series that I haven't watched because
Yeah.
I just got so excited. I was like, oh yes, I'm going to take it, you know.
Yeah,
But I do think that you really have to be careful
you
because
do.
we are supposed to be a light for the world
Hmm.
and not just a light for people I don't know, but a light to my teenagers. So I have a 16-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son,
Mm.
and they're watching everything I do, even though they don't act like it, but they're watching.
Yeah, that's
So,
important to set a good role model and example for them as well, and making those hard choices to turn down a job or an opportunity, that shows that you are making responsible decisions for them as well as for your family. And
yes.
so, well, there's a great film that's going to be at the Museum of the Bible that you are in, and you definitely had a speaking role in that one. You did a great job. It's called Jesus Freaks. It's going to be at the Museum of the Bible in June. So there's going to be a grand opening premiere, and we hope everyone will come and see JeanAnne in that movie. It's got a great title, and she's got a great role in it, a speaking role actually. So you did a good job in that movie.
Thank you so much. I really loved working with all the people on set. And I did not get to meet Kevin Sorbo, but I did get to meet his wife. And they are the, I would say, the main characters. They are the
Mhm.
main characters.
Uh-huh.
And this, and it's such an incredible story and a true story.
Hmm.
And I do believe, it's very relevant for this time that we're in because we don't know when our last day here is going to be on this earth. And this movie will make you want to be ready for it.
That's right. It definitely will. So we'd like for everyone to come see it for sure. Um, so that'll be at the Museum of the Bible on, let's see, I think it's June 21st, which is a Saturday,
Yes, that's
4
correct.
p.m. And let's see, you go to JesusFreaksMovie.com. And JeanAnne Roberts is the wife of the pastor, and she does a great job in that role. So
Oh, thank
this
you
has
so
been,
much.
oh, it's been wonderful talking with you and hearing your story. And I do want to encourage everyone to get a copy of your book before they hear you speak at the singles conference. So tell us again where they can, the name of your book and where they can get it.
The name of my book is It's Never Too Late to Find Your Crown. And you can get this book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or Walmart.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, we really hope to see you at the conference and invite people that maybe have lost the enthusiasm to find a partner. And so we'll look forward to seeing you there and hearing your story in person and signing your book for people that want to come. So thank you for being our guest today on the show. And God bless your family and your new roles that are coming up. And thank you for taking the time today to visit with us and share your story.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
You're welcome. You have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay. Bye bye.